All right.
So you can share your screen again. Okay, and let me make you host again, Kenya. All right.
Yes.
So make host. So don't share your screen just yet because I want to be full screen for right now. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, because this is being recorded, so you are our live audience. But in a perfect world, this will be hopefully viewed, let's say, millions of times. Let's just put it out there, right? Because what this whole group is about, what you've heard me say, and number one, thank you all for being here. Jennifer Matiz is popping in. Thank you all for being here because, as some of you mentioned, you're really busy. It's November, which means December's right around the corner, which means finals and all your projects. So don't forget, time is one of your most important resources. Where you give your time will speak a lot about really how successful you are, and not just financially successful, but really just successful in life, right? Your relationships, your goals, your projects, and finances as well. So be very mindful as you exit your teenage years and enter your 20 years, your adult years. That's one of the most important things that you can do is allocate where your time is being spent. So thank you for spending an hour here. And second, as Kenya and Lizbeth and when they open the floor to see who else wants to give information, the main thing why this topic is so important is because K-12, we failed to tell you just how important your social capital is. Let that sink in, okay? You have financial capital, which is money coming into your household. You have relationship capital, like your mom, your dad, your parents, your caretakers, your siblings, your what is that called? Like your social core. And then you have your social capital. And part of this group is to give you all a heads up about the things you should know, which no one tells you. And so some people get it, and a lot of you don't get it. And so that's why we're meeting here today. LinkedIn, as they will talk about, should be a part of your tool as you are building your foundation of who you are. A lot of my opportunities came from people I met with LinkedIn. If you, wait 1 second, I'm going to show my screen really quick. A lot of those who I teach with, actually, I'm going to reclaim host really quick. A lot of those who I teach with and who I'm building this huge, I'm just going to put it out there, corporation. I found them and hooked up with them on LinkedIn. So if you look here, like her, my co-facilitator, all these people, most of them, some I knew from private social relationships, most of them I found on LinkedIn, or we just got talking on LinkedIn and they came on my podcast or I did something for them. And so some of my most influential and financially foundational relationships came through LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn should be definitely something that you want to keep on your radar. Listen to the tips and strategies shared throughout this hour and see about how you can incorporate it into your developmental plan as you continue to develop yourself as an entrepreneur or as a business person or as an adult. Right. So before they get started, Kenya, does anyone have any questions about what this is about, or LinkedIn, or, oh, I've always wondered what Does anyone have anything that you already knew about LinkedIn that you just want to kind of throw out there so Kenya and Elizabeth can kind of hear where you're coming from? Any questions or any thought, or does people even have a profile already up? You can come off mic if you want to share.
Hi. I already knew about LinkedIn, and I know like I've heard a bit in like my internship that I'm currently doing about like the importance of it. And so I really hope to learn maybe how to actually incorporate more about me into my LinkedIn so that I can stand out more to potential employers.
Yes. And if you want to eventually start your own thing, like you see some of us doing, your foundational footprint will be started on there as well, right? All right. Anyone else wish to share? about why you're here, or because I hounded you and sent you a billion texts? All right. Well, that's really what I want to just kind of jump it off, just saying that this is more important than you actually know. And as you continue to grow in your career and your young adulthood, you'll start to learn. Sometimes it's not even about what you know. It's not even about all the degrees that you're getting right now. It's really about who you know and who knows you and what they know you for. Okay, that's really what this conversation is about. And then how do you communicate that with the strategies that the girls are going to share today? All right, so go for it, Kenya.
Alrighty, so let me share my screen. Okay, so make sure that you are all signed in, please. You can scan this QR code. It's just for, we're not going to spam you with a bunch of emails either, but it's just to like take into account like who is part of Alumni 360 has been joining. We will send you emails occasionally, just like with updates and like meetings or even opportunities. So it's just to have like your phone number and like your grade level, just because as we also approach finals, sometimes we do like little care packages because midterms and finals, they can get pretty difficult. So it's just for us to, just stay connected with one another. So make sure that you're signing in, please. Okay. And also join the Menti. So this is just going to be a really quick poll on like how well you feel about your LinkedIn, if you even have one. And let me go to the poll right now. So first scan that, please. And then we'll be going to the poll.
Are they completing the questions now?
Yes, it's just one question. So make sure you scan it, and then I will be showing the results. Hello, Jolie. Right now we're just scanning the Menti to get a feel with how confident you are in your LinkedIn profile. And then I'll be sharing the screen just to see the results to get a feel of where everyone's head is at with their LinkedIn profile. And if you never use Menti, it's pretty simple. If you just scan the QR code, it should just take you maybe to a sign in and then the question. Okay, so we have 6 responses so far. Okay, great. So now we have, I believe, everyone. Okay, so it needs some work. Well, then I'm really glad that you're here because hopefully you'll find all of these tips and tricks helpful, and you'll be able to take this time, and maybe in the next like 30 minutes after a meeting, you can work on your LinkedIn, and since it'll all be fresh in your brain too, you can take that action in improving your profile. And if you have any questions, of course, reach out to Lizbeth and I and Janina as well. Like, we're here for you, not just during this presentation, but afterwards as well. Okay, so now.
I wonder who put I'm an expert. Now play.
I know. Well, then maybe you should be giving this presentation. Just kidding. Okay. So at first glance, what do others see about you? So this includes your profile picture, your banner, maybe it's your university or your high school, your elevator pitch, your personalized link, companies you follow. So this is a lot. So first, with your profile picture, I was able, like actually have like that resource in getting like free headshots at my university, but of course not everyone has that. But if you do have that resource, make sure you take advantage of it, and you're able to get that like free headshot where, it's a professional picture of you, you're standing up straight, no filters like from Snapchat and nothing crazy like that, but just making sure that it's a professional picture. And if you can't get an actual headshot, you can just take a picture of yourself with like a clear background, or like there's some trees back there too, like in mine. But it just, it should be professional and simple, nothing too crazy. And then for your banner, so I've seen some people with like, maybe it's like a brown background and then it has like their name and their email, and it looks really pretty, like it looks like modern, but it doesn't really say much about you. Like it's okay, it's your name and your email, but like what do you care about? Like who are you? Like what do you stand for? And what I mean by that, like as an example, in my banner, I have the Orfalea College of Business, which is the college that I attend like within Cal Poly, since I am a business major. And my school is also predominantly white. So I'm one of the few Latinas in business. And so I'm proud of that. And so I added that like Latinas in business and then with OCOB in the background. And then your elevator pitch. I'm not going to go too in depth about this because this can be a whole other presentation on its own. But your elevator pitch is basically your about me section. And I'll just show mine real quick. So the about me section like could be like, you don't have to include how old you are, but where you go to school, like what you're studying, or if you're in high school transitioning to your first year in college, like you can mention that. And then leadership positions that you have within a club. Like for me, I serve as the director of external affairs within the Latinx Business Student Association. And then just like work experience that you have. It doesn't have to be career related. It can literally be anything, but you gain skills from working at Target. Like you are gaining those interpersonal skills. And so you can include that too if you'd like. But also, if you work like outside of just like internships and like you're a full-time student and you work, like make sure you include that too, because that shows that you have time management skills. And then at the end, I just included that. So I'm kind of like forecasting in the future. I'm not just talking about me, but in a way, I'm also interviewing companies and interviewing the people that view my profiles in a way by saying what I stand for and what my values are. And so making sure that you kind of close off in your elevator pitch with that. And so this is a lot, and I am in my second year of college, so we might all be like in different like places in our life, but just making sure that you have like a few of these things in there and like you are taking advantage of this space, like the about me part, because I've seen many profiles where there's literally nothing in there and it's space like meant to be used. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And then your personalized link. So I will just show you real quick that here where it says public profile and URL, you're able to edit your actual link. So like for me, it's just my first and middle initial and then my last name. Usually when they're automated, they come with numbers, but just to make it more professional and like simple, you can just include your name. And I believe there is a limit. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 5 times that you can edit your like actual link and then it's like frozen, like you can't change it. So make sure if you change it once or twice, like you're sure on that, because if you do it multiple times, it will just freeze and you won't be able to change it in the future. And then follow the company, well, the companies that you're interested in, make sure that you follow them. So firms that I'm interested in, I follow them just so I can, see what they're doing in their firm. Like for example, KPMG is one of the big 4 accounting firms in the US. I follow them because I know that diversity and inclusion is super important to them. And so I like to see those posts of what kind of students are taking to like their lake house for like these business trips, and just basically getting a feel of like what the company is about. So making sure that it's a social media platform, LinkedIn essentially, it's just professional. So make sure that you're actually following companies and that you are like looking through your feed and commenting and liking those photos as well. And if any of you have questions during the presentation, feel free to just like raise your hand, unmute yourself. This isn't like class. Feel free to ask questions or put it in the chat. And then also just take time to add onto your profile. So I know that this can be a little bit tedious and it doesn't all have to be done in one sitting, but making sure that you're adding those skills. Like for me, being assistant executive director at Alumni 360, like website updating is something that I've been working on recently. So I include that on there because other business professionals, when they look at my profile, they can see like, oh, well, she has experience with working on a website. Like at our company, we actually are looking for someone who can help us with our website. So just making sure that you are taking advantage of, again, that space that's there. So your skills, and then honors and awards, making sure that this isn't like an award that you got in elementary school for being in honors. Like that's great, but that was elementary. Making sure that it's at least like 2 to 3 years, like recent. So for me, like getting a scholarship, that was in 2023. And then probably next year, I'll be removing like that 2022 just because that is in high school and I've already been in college for 2 years. Unless it is like I've been in the Avid program, for example, for 5 years. So like 2019 to like 2023, like I'll still include that. And then also just adding languages. So if you're bilingual, if you know multiple languages, making sure that you include that. And definitely don't lie. Like if you've taken one class of like Japanese and you include that you're fluent, interviewers might pick you on that. And, maybe they know Japanese and they start talking to you in Japanese and you lied. Like I've heard that that's happened before to my friends, or not friends, but people in like club meetings, like they shared that. And so making sure that you're honest about your skills, you're honest about the languages that you know, and just you're honest in awards as well, because interviewers will ask you questions on that. Like they will look at your LinkedIn.
Wait, so let's pause there. Can you go back to actually the first slide? Yeah.
Yes.
So what jumps out at you for this slide? Like what do you see? What do you like? Anyone wish to just comment about this particular or her slide or her LinkedIn page?
I definitely like one, like where she puts the launch intern, any type of experiences, I think is what's really important for me. And just seeing that on hers also works because you really do get to see how experienced and how skilled she is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. And you can go to the next slide. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Any thoughts about this page when you were thinking about what you've been doing the past year or two, even things outside of school? Any things come up for you? They're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Anyone can jump in.
This kind of feels helpful to know because sometimes when I'm thinking about what I want to add, I feel like it does have to be related, but I guess it's good to know that you can get skills from experiences not necessarily related to your career that can help you when you do get there.
So looking at all of your social spheres. So some of you all are in faith-based groups, like you go to church on Sunday or mosque or temple or something. If you've had leadership abilities or responsibilities over there, do you bring that in? For those of you who speak multiple languages, that's going to be really huge. I think it's huge now, but bringing that in. But like you said, don't like just say conversational if you're not fully fluent, right? And anything else that jumped out? Because you can hear her talk about this, but you really looking at it and thinking, okay, well, how does this apply to me? What does that look like? And taking notes. That's really going to help with this. So did anything else jump out on this page? Cool. Okay, you can keep going then.
All right. I also did want to just share that the volunteering, yes. So let's see, where is that part? Volunteering, like Janine had said, like if you go to church, like for me on campus, we have this organization called Crew, and we actually did a missionary trip, like a volunteering trip. We went to Costa Rica to install like water filters there in marginalized communities, and like including that. So like that was a volunteer opportunity for me, but also I was able to utilize my Spanish, which I mean, who would have thought? I mean, I didn't expect to be a translator, but it worked out well. Like I was able to help and serve as a translator. So those little things that you don't think are important or that are outside of your career or like work experience, like volunteer opportunities, like take advantage of that. And LinkedIn has a whole section for that, like for volunteering. So I mean, I was also in the California Scholarship Federation during high school, so just taking advantage of that space too. Like it does matter, even though it's not like business related in my case. Okay, and So again, if you have any questions or anything that you see that, you know, you want to comment on, feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. This is meant to be interactive. So how to network through LinkedIn. So making sure that you're always sending a thank you message to, your interviewers and like the scholarship organizations, if you are a scholarship recipient, or like coworkers. I include the word firm, but it can be like a company or like a retail store. If like they wrote you like a letter of recommendation for you to move somewhere else, just like sending out those thank you messages. Or they can be like actual physical note cards, but in the past I've only ever done thank you messages because it just shows that like you cared about the time that that person, that individual took into, giving back to you, or writing that letter of recommendation, that reference, because it does go a long way. Like sometimes even just applying to scholarships, I would send a message to the person who interviewed me because they even took interest in me, and that little thank you message does go a long way. Because I know that some people like who didn't get the scholarship, like they didn't do that. So I'm not saying that like this is what got me the scholarship, but they do take that into account. Like it does mean something. And then just following up with the professionals you've already met. So this doesn't have to be like, in my case, it will be business related, but like when I go to like business socials, anyone who I've met, I always just like message them and connect with them through LinkedIn, like thank them for like the time on sharing their experience with tax. So I send out that message and get a conversation started with them. And then also just following up with people you've already like connected with. So like once you accept that connection, you like look through the profile and like you ask them, hey, like I've seen that, like it's great to connect with you, but also like I noticed you've interned at this company, like what was that like? I'd love to set up a coffee chat with you, something as small as that. And then if they respond to you and they're actually interested in, well, they're able to give you time, give you their time, that'd be great, because now you have a coffee chat with someone that you didn't know and you'll be able to learn from them. So just taking advantage of those connections that you've already established through LinkedIn too, not just accepting like the connect, yes, but sending out those little messages. And then so follow companies that you're interested in. I had mentioned this before, but again, like that feed pops up. And then if there's a business professional that you think, wow, like what they're doing is super cool, like I want to learn more about them, like messaging them, but you following that company is what led you to that individual. So again, LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's just professional. So learning how to navigate it is so important. Like check it regularly and look at the companies that you follow and the professionals that are tagged, because in some posts they will like at the professional. So then you can view their profile too and connect with them and then message them. So it's just like this whole like snowball effect. And then send out those LinkedIn messages to your mutual connections, companies of interest. So I personally have only done this a few times, but sometimes I've never even met someone, but I see that they have connected with one of my friends. And so I will find them through there. And so like I'll message them and I'll like ask them about like what's the work that you do. Like I'd love to set up a coffee chat. Again, just like taking that time to make that connection with someone is super important through LinkedIn. So are there any questions or anything that stands out about this? Like, did you guys already know this? I'm like sending thank you messages, or is this new to you?
It's definitely new to me. I barely started my LinkedIn and I just thought, okay, I'll just put my, my profession, what I work in and things like that. But I never knew that you could put a thank you, which I think does go a long way, especially in every type of major that we're all in.
Right. Yes, I agree.
Yes, as far as the messages, I know you have a few links for them to actually see one. Did you actually want to show them where the message function is, where you talk directly to people?
Yes, I can do that. Let's see. I'll go to mine. And so for me, I just like this little arrow and it just like pops up. But if I go to my profile, or like to message other individuals.
Yeah, I guess both.
Okay. So if I go to
Mhm.
your Miss Letfords, I can see like the message icon right here, and I can just click it and send her a message. and then there. And this is only once you are connected. Let's say there's someone that I not connected with. I can actually connect with them, but then also add a note. I always do this. I've never connected with someone and not added a note because it just shows that, wow, like, well, usually who I connect with, it's someone that I've already had a conversation with. So let's say that they were talking to me about their dog. So from that conversation, even though it was business related, something as small and like showing that I was an active listener and I remember about their dog, like mentioning that in the message, like thanking them for their time and for the wisdom that they shared, but then also, and like, I hope your dog is like feeling better, for example, because they were sharing to me like how their dog was a little bit sick. But something as small as that shows that you're being an active listener, and then it just makes it more human, like more personal, right? It's not just like, it was great talking to you, like have a great day, but you also include something personal. So using this is a very important function too. Is there anything else that stood out to anyone? Or any questions about what I just showed? Thank you, Ms. Lefford, because I actually didn't really think about that too, like sending those messages when you connect.
And then another thing that I do, it's more applicable for people who are kind of getting people wanting to connect with you, which hopefully you all will be in that situation. Like you'll be doing some of the things that Kenya and Lizbeth will be sharing. And so people are going to be saying, wow, this person is just really becoming a thought leader in this field. Let me connect with them. When people connect with me, I always respond saying, oh, thanks for reaching out. What made you wish to connect? And so that starts a conversation. They just don't connect with me and I just accept it and then move on. I want to engage because maybe this person is like, you know, someone that I really want to make an impression with. So keeping that in mind as well.
Yes. Okay, is there anything else that anyone wants to add on this slide? Questions or comments?
And I know Jolie put something in the chat and I'll just read it because some people may be watching this later on. It's unless Jolie wants to read it. Jolie, do you want to share?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that in LinkedIn you can search up people who share like a school or a company with you, and that way you can see if there's like any company that you're interested in. You can see if there are any alumni from your school and reach out to them that way. And a lot of the alumni are usually very interested in helping out one of their like fellow school goers, and they're usually very willing to talk.
Thank you for sharing.
Then that's very important. What Jolie is tapping into is a concept called in-grouping or an out-grouping. What your brain does, I'll get off camera. What your brain does automatically when you see someone or meet someone, it's quickly putting people into in groups and out groups, right? And that's actually the basis of, you know, just some not good things like discrimination or even, you know, all the way to genocide, but some other good things like people connecting with you on LinkedIn because like, what, you went to CSUN? So did I. Oh my goodness. You know, let's connect, or how can I help you? The brain wants to connect with familiarity. So so exactly what Jolie said is tapping into that. So if you see someone in a position or at a place that they have something in common with you, do what Kenya says, reach out, leave a message, and then type in that thing that they have in common with you. So if you're going to reach out to me like, oh, Miss Ledford, I see you taught at Canoga Park or New Academy. I went there, da-da-da-da-da. They're like, oh my goodness, you're a dolphin too? How can I help you? So my brain will connect more with you faster if you highlight what we have in common.
Yes, exactly. And there was also a good question in the chat. So the question is like, all of this is good for college and like future life skills, but how can this be beneficial to high school seniors? So I developed my my LinkedIn. Actually, I think I created my account like my freshman year of high school. And from then, like I was already like adding experience, like adding these skills with just like little experience I had in like working with my mom. Like she would, or like I worked at a dental office. So here I can actually show this. I worked at a dental office during high school, and I included that. Oh, how do I go to my? I included that in my profile, and it's still here. But just recently, like this was in 2019, and just recently, like during an interview for an accounting firm, the woman who was interviewing me, her husband was a dentist. And so just seeing this, like already established again, some like what Janine was saying, that connection and oh well, you worked and like you facilitated like these toothbrush kits in the marketing department. Like, well, my husband is actually a dentist. And so it just establishes this connection, right? And so if you have like work experience during high school, just like including that because a little goes a long way. Like this was in 2019 and I barely talked about it in 2023, but it came up and I did land the internship. Like it did go well. And also just like for your scholarships, like if you are a senior right now, I strongly recommend to apply to your scholarships. So during fall quarter, you are applying to you're applying to universities. And then your second semester, sorry, I said fall quarter, your first semester, colleges, second semester, you should really focus on those scholarships. And so utilizing LinkedIn to thank those scholarship organizations and those scholarship professionals, or maybe even scholarship opportunities through LinkedIn. Like I actually have never done that, but I'm pretty sure they're out there. So it could definitely still be utilized to your advantage in high school.
Yeah, I have to jump in. Really good points
Yes.
there. The scholarship organizations usually have their own LinkedIn pages. So if I were you, and I've never even thought about this, so thank you so much for bringing it up, I would follow those scholarship pages or any internships that you're looking to get. Because when you go back to check your LinkedIn, which you should on a regular basis, you'll see their posts pop up. And you may see a post saying, hey, the scholarship application opened, or hey, we're looking for interns with this, this, and this. And the other thing is why this is so important for high school students is because it's already true now. You don't exist unless you're on LinkedIn. If you're trying to get an internship or apply for school, people check you out first. I didn't have this growing up. No one checked me out because I was coming through school in 97. We barely had cell phones coming out to the whole layout. So the things that you have are great for connection, but you also have to understand that people are looking you up before they even thinking about what they're going to do with your application. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you're communicating to them that you're not serious about this next step, even though you probably are, but that's just what they may be taking in.
Right. Yes, like all of this space, you could still use it even in high school, like your skills that you have from like work experience, or if you're like captain of the volleyball team, or you started a club in your school, adding that here, your honors and awards during high school, if you were like in the honor roll for all 4 years, like adding that on here, and you could still add languages. So you could still utilize all of this space, just like knowing how is super important. Okay. And so now I'll pass it on to Lisbeth.
Thank you, Kenya. So sharing valuable content. So I feel like this is a useful element that I feel as though a lot of people don't utilize enough in the beginning of their careers. So the first question might be like, what does valuable mean in this context? So think of valuable content as something that can be tied back to you, like something that shows, your accomplishments. This could be in reference to like any social events where you might have learned something interesting. So Bella, I know you mentioned something about an internship. Posting about that internship would be very useful in your LinkedIn. And like, for example, here, Kenya posted on National Intern Day where she was thanking some of her fellow people that helped her get to where she was, which also ties back to, engaging with your connections and making them feel gracious enough that you are able to acknowledge them to get to where you are. And so what Kenya just talked about, adding your skills, creating that elevator pitch, those are all like technical skills, but adding, pictures or like blog posts, reposting things that can show the personality side of who you are, which is very valuable to any employer because of course they want to see both sides to you. And that's for that slide. So next, oh, did anyone have any questions actually? Sorry. Or any thoughts?
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like that's really relevant with my internship, and I was just wondering, how do you approach the captioning on these posts?
Right. So do you mean as in like the hashtags or the tagging that Kenya did?
Yeah, like all of those parts.
So Kenya, if you want to kind of go over to your profile.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Kenya could probably show you how to do that on her end.
Okay. Let's see, show a post. So when you are tagging a professional, you usually do the @ and you start to type their name. And if you have them on your, like you already connected with them through your LinkedIn, it should just like pop up like first and you can just add them and then the hashtag, right? I saw that a lot of my friends who are also interning like at other firms, they use this hashtag. So it's literally just like going through LinkedIn, looking at the posts and noticing what like other people are doing. So then like I saw that like this hashtag like had a lot of hashtag like people like posting about it. So then I used it. And then at the end, this is also just like the motto of Ernst & Young, building a better working world. So after any post that is related to Ernst & Young, I include that hashtag because it's their motto. And so, right, I don't know if that helped, but well, do you have any questions or like, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so don't be afraid, to take a picture of, the brand's logo, maybe in the office. It's totally not embarrassing. A bunch of people understand, you're starting out, stuff like this, like content is important to post on your page. People want to click on your page and see and read about you. They don't just want to see, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. Okay, how did you learn your skills? Did you attend to an event? What did you learn from that event? So yeah, you kind of want to post what you took away from your experience. And yeah, so let's move on to the second slide. Okay, so being active and consistent. So number one, regularly log in and update your profile accordingly. Everyone wants to know what you're doing up to date. They want to click on your profile and see, oh, she's currently working here. So you want to make sure that all of your, maybe not posts, because those, once you post them, it's already done, but your skill level is up to date. Your where you work is up to date. Your elevator pitch is up to date. If you wrote something back in college and now you're 2 years into your career, you want to be able to change it because your experiences are different. What you know now is different. So obviously, your experience is different. So your elevator pitch is going to be different. Continue to engage with your connections. So just like Kenya did in her post about National Intern Day, she was able to acknowledge people that got her to where she is. And something like that is very gracious for people to see, oh, well, I'm grateful that Kenya was able to acknowledge me. Maybe I can continue doing more things for her, And also something as small as just commenting under someone's post, congratulating them, liking their post, something as small as that could keep someone in their mind, keep your image in their mind. And then begin establishing your personal brand. So what do you want people to take away from you? What do you want people to see you as? You know, establishing a consistent theme in your profile. You know, you want to make your goals, you want people to click on your account and know what you're going for, know your goals. And always remember to remain professional at all times. So a lot of people say that LinkedIn is the business or the employer Instagram. So take that with a grain of salt. You know, you still want to remain professional in your captions, in your comments, and anything you post on there, because it is still a professional domain. So does anyone have any questions or comments about any of this?
I really like how you said that. I'm sorry.
Go jump in, Jeanette.
I really never heard that until this semester, where my professor's telling us to branch out into network, and hearing you guys say it also just has that impact on us. And I feel like a lot of us students, even though we're still young, no one really tells us that we should have that professionalism on our social media, or if we really want to be taken serious on our LinkedIn, they don't really tell you that. And it's so, anything you post, it really does take into effect how people look at you, which I just really appreciate that you guys pointed that out.
Yeah, and I'm going to just extend on a few things that Lisbeth said. Everything she said, diamonds, gold, gems. So really take it into because I don't forget, I'm coming over at you. Lisbeth and Kenya are right in the mix of it. They're starting their career. They're still in college, so they haven't really started their career yet. You know, they got their foot right in that transition door within the next 3 years. But I'm 44 years old. I've been working for 20 years, so I'm over here on this side, kind of looking over the bridge at you all who are in high school and college and early career. So the one thing I want to reiterate from this side of the bridge is that Lisbeth said, you know, have everything updated, and I do want to amend it. Have your posts updated too. So Lisbeth, you might want to think about this as well. I go and check people's profile and I see what they post. Like this person hasn't posted in a year. Right, I take that into account. So, but then I go to like Kenya, it's like, oh, she just posted something last week about her experience at this internship. Awesome, she's active, she's getting out there. Look what she got, exactly what Lisbeth said. Look, she got 3 things from this meeting. You know, this is a girl that I want on my team. Bam, that's done. Okay, so even with updating your static stuff, update your posts. Try to post what would you say? I do it at least every other day, but at least once a week, especially if you go to events. Do you have any thoughts to say about that, girls, or anyone else?
I know a lot of my friends don't post, and they are coming to these events with me. So they have content. They can post. They just I'm not sorry, but they get a little lazy. They don't want to take the pictures. They don't want to, take the time to make the caption and to like think about it, because you want to proofread all of your captions as well and your hashtags. Like if a business professional goes to your post and they see that you misspelled have, like it just shows that you're in a rush and that you don't really care about the little things, and that does not look good. And so you want to make sure that it's nice, crisp and clean, and you use Grammarly if you have to. But and so making sure that you are posting regularly, and I know once a week can be a little bit ambitious, but I would recommend at least once a month. If you're not doing once a month, like you really you gotta like connect with someone, like how you can message me to keep you accountable, like that. We can definitely utilize me as a resource. Like I'm trying to motivate my friends too, like, hey, like you went to this event with me, like this happened last week, you can still post about it now.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to post just about the events you go to. Please connect with me on my LinkedIn. See what I'm looking about. Even you all have classes, right? You go to class. Bam. Yeah. If I were you, like, hey, I just went to my lecture in Sociology 101, and the professor mentioned about this thing about sociology, and here's what I think about it. Bam, there's a post, right? And you don't have to add a picture. You can, it does help a lot. But the people who are looking to hire, the people who are looking to fund you, the people who are looking to give you scholarships, us over here, we're looking for students who see things differently. We're looking for students who are interacting with the world and who are building their thought leadership. So if you're posting on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok about your shoes and your food, you can put aside 30 minutes or whatever to post about something that will actually build your professional career and build you as a thought leader for decades to come. Think about that. How much time are you spending on TikTok versus how much time are you building something that will impact your children's children?
I had one question. So I really liked what you said about using maybe like our class experiences as posts for some people who maybe don't go to as many events. So would it be maybe appropriate to include like projects and like the process of those projects into posts?
Yeah, especially, I'm sorry, you can give your thoughts, Kenya, but especially if you're in a field that people don't hear a lot about, because you're in architecture. Yeah,
Yes,
if I were
yeah.
you, I would be posting every other day, because that's just a fascinating field. All
Yeah.
fields are fascinating. Business is fascinating. What is AI doing in business? These don't just have to be something that you see in class or your event. This is just you having a thought. Kenya's like, wow, I never really thought about that. Let me just make a quick thing and add a quick photo and share this thought. And then I read Kenya. I'm like, wow, Kenya's a deep thinker. Wow, I want her on my team or whatever. This is what you're kind of showing people who you are in a professional academic thought leadership way.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I just wanted to ask about that just because I know that especially for like these projects, like it's definitely something that I want to, show and put out there. I wasn't sure because those projects also get put into like portfolios that could be on LinkedIn. I just didn't know like if that was maybe like too repetitive or if that was okay as well.
Yeah, Bella, you came to my school. So Bella actually came to my school because at Pierce they had like the competition, right? What was it called? I know it was at the architectural graveyard, but
Yeah,
the
it's
competition itself.
it's called Design Village. Yeah,
Yes,
it's an
Design
architecture
Village.
competition.
One that is a golden post right there. Like taking pictures of just like what you were doing, what you guys built. So you can explain it more, Bella. But from my understanding, you built like a shelter and you had to sleep in there for 2 nights and you
Yeah.
had to like hike up because we have so many hills here. You needed to hike up the mountain, carry all of your materials and stay there for 2 nights. And it was cold and windy, but you did it. That is a post in itself. And you can, talk about your team and like what you learned and just like your experience overall. Like that's really cool. You can
Yeah.
definitely post about that.
That's actually separate posts within itself, because you can stretch that out through multiple posts throughout almost your school year. But yeah, we should just have a session on just like thought leadership posts, right? Like, how do you turn your life into people seeing you as a leader, basically?
Okay. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to add as well, because we have been posting as like our club that we have at Pierce called like the Architecture Club, where we've been like kind of running this whole like social group for architecture students. And so we have been posting a lot, but on Instagram. So it's been on different platform. So would it be okay to just like maybe reuse those posts and just like put them on LinkedIn, even if it's like a little bit later than when they happened?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you can post both on Instagram and LinkedIn, and it can be the same exact thing too, unless you have like more to share, like on LinkedIn if it's like later on, but definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, so if anyone has any more questions or thoughts they would like to share, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. If not, we can just proceed with the next slide.
Proceed, so
Okay.
we're okay on time.
Okay, so let's take a look at this LinkedIn profile. So what are some weaknesses in this LinkedIn profile that may hinder this person's ability to establish connections? Just kind of looking at it. You could say something in the chat if you'd like, or unmute yourself. We kind of scroll up again.
So we see you have some people writing it in the chat. So you can type it in the chat or just come off mute since we're kind of running short on time. What would you do differently if this was your profile?
I think like a lot of people are
Maybe.
pointing out the picture, but also like if you're putting your skills, you want to go in depth and at least give like a little small, not even in a paragraph, but like 2, 3 sentences of what you did there. You not just the title will give it enough. Really elaborating on what you really did in those experiences helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And also, Kenya, if you could scroll down just a little bit more under that post right there. So there is this post. She attended the Nuclear Threat Initiative 2023 Speaker Summit. And she said she had so much fun, but it doesn't really kind of elaborate what she took away from the Speaker Summit, how she was able to get there, if someone had mentioned it to her. So she doesn't really explain, and that's a very important thing to do when you're making your post. So you kind of don't want to be vague. You're posting because you want people to take away from you. And yes, of course, just like Jeanette had mentioned, so for the skills and experiences, you kind of want to add what you took away from that specific experience. And like, yeah, a demonstration of how you got your skills and how proficient you are. So yeah, and the background picture as well. You want to, like Kenya said, do something that's personal to you, not just your Instagram or sorry, your email, your name, like something, how she did the Latinas in business. So yeah.
And for the nuclear threat posts, here's how I would rock that, something like, ever since I studied World War II, I saw the impact of nuclear wars, even on the citizens, on the children, on the most vulnerable. Going to this nuclear threat initiative really opened my eyes. I had so much fun. You can share you had so much fun, but you see how I added that point of, here's what I took away from it. Here's how it impacted me. Here's something that you might want to know from it. And I had so much fun. Does that make sense? How you can turn it into a more of a thought leadership post, as opposed to just saying, look at my dress. Don't I look cute?
And this is just an account that we just made. Don't think that we are actually putting someone down. It's just an example. I just added some couple experiences. Just want to point that out.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, okay. And now let's move on to the next example.
Also, just like the companies, it's
Yeah.
not companies, just one, right? They didn't elaborate on like what they did here, like Jeanette was saying, or like their about me section. So yeah, just like the little things, like they do matter.
And now we're going to take a look at a better established LinkedIn profile. So what are some notable strengths on Kenya's profile that people want to point out? You could drop it in the chat or unmute yourself if you'd like. Kenya's just going to scroll down just a little bit.
I would take your age off, Kenya. Because you don't want to keep going back and because I would just say I'm a second year at Cal Poly.
I had that on there, and then this is like kind of corny of me, but I'm like super young. Like everyone's already turning 20 and 21, like all my friends. So I was like, oh, like I'm just gonna include that I'm 18 and like yeah, I'll take it off though.
But I mean, if you want to leave it on there, so it's showing people that you're already like 2 steps ahead or two years ahead of everyone, like you're 18 and already a second year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for that, see,
Okay.
I didn't see it from that perspective. So that would be fine.
So what are some notable strengths that we can take away from Kenya's profile?
She did have an about, which the other profile didn't have. We just saw straight ahead that they went to a specific event, which I think it's really important, especially because we could just look at all the skills, but we don't really know who the person is. And I think that's one thing that helps define somebody is what they're pursuing, and seeing that in the about is just so important to me.
Exactly. So comparing it to the other profile, you know, if you were to look at these two and say Emma Wilson was actually a person, and you know, you're looking at these two LinkedIn profiles and you're wondering who should you hire? Now, the nuclear, I forgot what it was called, the initiative one, you know, that's a really big accomplishment. But if you're looking at these two profiles and wondering who to hire, Kenya would probably be the option that they would go with, well, considering the company. But she just has updated her profile and is constantly posting, constantly active, showing that she's attending many events. You know, her experience is extended. Her honors and rewards is, she has paragraphs, and she's a part of many organizations, and she just overall has a more fulfilled profile, and we could kind of get an idea of who she is and what she's working towards, given her about paragraph on her profile. So yeah, that's a big thing as well. You kind of see the change within the person just in that simple about paragraph.
Awesome, awesome. So you get to see the multifaceted. Don't forget, the logo's a diamond for a reason of my company. You all are multifaceted. So how many facets are you allowing them to see? Preguntas. So as we
Yeah.
wrap up,
So with everything taken into account, I'm just looking at like the two profiles side by side, and with what Lisbeth and I have been sharing, are there any questions that any of you have about your personal profile? Like if you're looking at that right now, like as we've been going through this presentation, like if you've been looking at yours, any questions that you may have, or comments about things that we've shared that you thought was interesting, please just like use this time to share with us. Like we want to hear from you guys.
I don't really have a question, but I just want to say thank you because this just seems like an easier step for my future since like I'm trying to like collect everything that I've done all throughout high school. So like just having a place to post my accomplishments and just continue like developing a professional image for college and career. Um, this seems like a really useful tool. So thank you.
Yes, of course. And if you ever like want Lisbeth and I to like, go over your profile with you, or like you want to send us a picture, like feel free to, message us, email us. Like we're here for all of you to do like one-on-ones as well.
and that is a big deal because people charge a lot of money to do that. So just to have that, and that's for me too. So once those two go through it, if you want them to go through your LinkedIn profile, and then you can send it to me, and then I can give you some quick analysis as well. Okay. All right. Well, this will be recorded, so Kenya and Elizabeth will work on getting it up on the Alumni 360 page in case you wanted to watch it over again. And because we are out of time. And I put my LinkedIn profile in the chat. Elizabeth and Kenya can do the same, so you can go and check that out. And then make sure that you could you put the QR code, make sure you sign in. So Kenya and Elizabeth have your information. Don't forget, we do give thank you cards out. Thank you Amazon cards out for spending time with us and learning. And hi, Emina, I know you popped in a little bit late, but you're here, so you made it in time. If she's still here. And yeah, just make sure we have your email address and we know that you were here. If you need the QR code, it's right there, or you can just let us know. And anything else? Do you want to?
Yes. So I added my email on LinkedIn. Connect with me, connect with Lisbeth and Janine as well, and email us if you'd like for us to go over your profile. So what you could do is if you have a MacBook, like from a MacBook's perspective, you can go to like file. So go to your profile, go to file, and then print, and it'll save your entire page, and then you can email that to us and we can revise it for you. Or we can hop on a Zoom call and like go through it together, whatever, how much time you have and how much time you're willing to put into it. Like, we're here for you. Utilize us as resources. But yes, that is all.
Our job is to help you shine bright and to do well. So our next meeting, I don't know if we're doing one in December. We'll talk about that. And if we are, we will send out that information. But how do we start our 2024 off? Can you believe the year's over practically? Awesome. And if you're in college or if you're out in the workforce, let us know so we can try to get our care packages out before you hit your finals. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yay. Thank you. Thank you once again for showing up. Your hour of power is important. And we're doing this because we believe in you. So round of applause for Miss Kenya and Miss Lisbeth. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining.
Yes, they are a part of Alumni 360. And don't forget, invite your friends. We want more people, and share this video out with people who you think would be blessed by it, okay? Because don't forget, you really don't exist. Well, you do exist and we love you, but your professional life doesn't exist if it's not out there for people to find and learn more about you without actually talking to you directly. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, so you can log off, Kenya and Lisbeth, you can stay on, and we'll see you all next month, possibly before the new year, okay?
Yes, thank you all. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, how'd that go? Wait,
I'm really glad that people showed up.
I know.
Yes.
It was a